Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and in this video, we're going to be focusing on the different styles of compression available through Pro-C 2. Let me make my head smaller. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different compression styles inside this plugin. So when we're looking at all of them, so we can start to learn how they sound, and we're also going to be looking at the different parameters that are available to them and how they change. You know, if I keep the attack setting around here and I switch to a different parameter, it's going to sound a bit different. So we're gonna go through them and start to understand and learn how they sound. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce the little demo that I have here. Okay, and let's hop over to the next compression style, which is classic. I'm going to reset these parameters. Now, between the clean and the classic, we can tell already, not just by listening, but by looking here, that the curve on the clean, the knee on it, is a lot smoother. So we hear a lot less of the compression, because since it happens gradually instead of suddenly, the effect sounds a little bit more natural. But also it sounds less punchy than the classic version, because with the punchy, you can almost hear how some of the transients that are a bit lower, they don't get as loud, or the difference between those transients are a little bit lower and the ones that are a bit louder aren't so drastic. So it doesn't sound like things are getting smashed together. Whereas the classic, sorry, did I say cleaner classic? With the classic, we have the knee that's a little bit harder, right? So we get a more drastic change. Again, listen. This is a bit more gradual. Listen to how the snare just pokes a little bit harder. Okay. Also, because the release is so long, the when we're on clean, the room reverb sounds a bit different than when we hop over to the classic. So keep all that in mind between those two different ones. After that, they keep getting more and more drastically different. Let's solo the drums now so we can just focus on them. Let me turn off the basses. Okay, let's hop over to Opto. See how different those three different modes sound. It's quite fantastic. If you go to help and show interactive help hints, you can see that this brings up a little dialog menu to talk about the different modes. Now, if you go to the manual, there's going to be more description on this. So if we go to the help file, you can go to start using Pro-C 2. And when we come to the dynamics control right here, you're going to see a little bit description of the different style of compressor. So we can see here that the clean is an all-around low distortion, feed-forward program dependent style. The classic is a vintage feedback, very program dependent. So the opto is relatively slow, very softly, and as we can see, it's kind of soft, kind of like the clean, so it's not as punchy as a classic one. The vocal is very effective algorithm to bring vocals to the front of your mix. It works with automatic knee and ratio settings, so compressing your lead vocal is easy as choosing the right threshold. So we'll see here that once I hop over to vocal, and just bring, we no longer have control over the ratio nor the knee. So if you use this on a vocal, what will happen is it will smoothen out really loud parts and also the very quiet parts, but not to the point where the really quiet parts are super compressed or super brought up, and the ones that are very loud are super compressed. So you guys get a nice blend of both worlds. And basically, it's kind of like emulating an LE2A almost. So you guys can have some fun with that, play around with it to see what is your preferred taste in certain situations. And if I hop back to something like the classic here, you can see that even though the attack and the release don't change, neither the milliseconds, let me just show you that, it's not changing in milliseconds, right? So what is essentially happening is, because we're emulating different types of compressors here, what happens is that the release and the attack on different compressors will be a bit slower or a bit quicker. So even if their settings are the same, they will not align when we switch the different model here. You can see here how the classic is a lot punchier and the release is a lot quicker, and the next one, the vocal one, a lot slower. It's also a lot smoother because we have no control over the ratio nor the knee. If I go over to the classic, I can get a lot punchier results. So let's hop over to the next one. Let's go to mastering. And this one we've already seen in the previous video. Let's reset everything. This one's so smooth, it's very hard to make anything sound bad with this one. If we push this threshold all the way into down to 30, because the compression is so smooth, you can actually bring the release down and bring in a lot of the room from the actual recording. See that? So it's also cool to do some effects like this. It's not just good for just mastering, as we've seen before in the previous video when it was on the master. It's also good for creating other type of sound design tricks. So for example, again, if you don't have your stems, what you could do is add this, double this layer, and then maybe remove all the low end off of this and put a little bit of extra reverb on this layer to layer it back with the original drums. And we're gonna get this really big room sound. Actually, we can do some of that right here. Let's do. So these are the original drums. So it's a really cool sound design thing you can do. Now let's hop over to the next mode here, and we have the bass. Oh, I mean the bus. So this is going to be more of your typical bus style compression. I was still doing some parallel processing right there. Hold on. So this works really well as an SSL type compressor. Let's actually put this on the master bus right here, and let's play the whole track together, and let's give that one a try. So let's go bring the release a little bit faster. The attack make it even quicker. And then in this case, we'll engage the look ahead, and we'll keep the look ahead around, let's say 10 milliseconds. So you can tell, even if I haven't really mixed this at all, just putting that bus compressor on it really changes the way the drums react and things react with each other. Now it's really obvious why people would like to have an SSL on the master bus, from the get-go. Let's adjust the gain to be auto here. Yeah, so it's quite a big difference. So yeah, it's no surprise as to why people would like to have these types of bus compressors on the master bus as they're mixing. So let's mute that guy for a second, and then we're going to go back to the drums, install them again, so we can look at the last couple models here. So we have the punch, and let's reset everything, and we're going to go back to the clean version, just so we can remember what that sounds like. No compression right there. right, let's hop over to punch. So you can hear how around that 400, 500 hertz area, we got a lot more punch out of compared to the clean. Watch. Also, the punch is a bit snappier. We can kind of hear here how in the top end, this almost feels like it's kind of I don't know. I like to call it swollen almost, where the drum almost feels like it's a little bit like a little too saturated. I feel, but when you go to the punch, you can make out the transients on top much cleaner. Over to the clean again. And again, when you're playing around with the attack and the release, it's going to be a bit different for all the different models. Let's go to pumping. And this one's going to be really cool for creating effects, and I'll show you guys in the following class how to use the pumping one, because it's a really cool compression type. So you can see how the curve on the release is a bit different than on all these other compression cells. I reckon this would also be pretty cool for that effect trick I showed you. Where you're trying to get some of the room. This is a bit too extreme though. Yeah, I guess you could kind of do this. Let's turn auto off. And let's turn the weight gain all the way down. And bring the dry up. So with this one, you can also kind of do that trick I showed you where you bring the attack down and bring the release pretty much to like 10 milliseconds or 40 milliseconds. Anywhere between 10 to 100. You're going to get this effect where you can almost hear the room. If you push too much, it's not going to be the same. See? So you can also kind of do that effect here with these drums. But like I said, I'm going to show you guys how powerful this pumping compression style is when it comes to doing sidechain compression with EDM tracks. And also for doing like trance effects and stuff like that. So let's go back to the classic one last time. And you'll see here that with the hold parameter engaged, they also all react a little bit different. So we gotta keep all those parameters in mind when we're using compression. Anyways, this is gonna be it for this second video in the series. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something new. If you like the video, please, like the video. Please subscribe to the channel so you guys don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. We're gonna cover sidechaining on the next video, and then also gonna do a little bit of MIDI sidechaining, because a lot of people don't know you can actually use MIDI as a trigger to trigger some of the sidechaining here. And then we're going to look at some of the cool stereo linking effects in the following videos after that. So make sure you guys stay tuned for those videos as well. Once again, I'm Kevin Ochoa with Music Marketing TV. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.